People will probably like see my tattoos and piercings and also like my age. You're like, okay, well you're obviously like spiraling a little bit, so you probably take meds.
We all look deceiving.
What does it mean to look medicated? You know?
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, because if you look medicated, you can appear healthy because you're medicated.
Or why?
Right.
People will probably like see my tattoos and piercings and also like my age. You're like, okay, well you're obviously like spiraling a little bit, so you probably take meds. So I'll be fourth.
Yeah, I feel like you're middle-ish.
I guess I'm excited to see what everyone is going to be like, who's going to be on medication, who's not really. A lot of people don't really present like they're on medication. At least a lot of people that I know, you would never guess that they were on medication.
I feel like you'd probably be third, like just right before me.
Oh, like right here or in front of you?
No, yeah, like right here.
Okay.
Can I say I think I should move up just a little bit? Maybe
Yeah,
like
no,
right before you.
I feel like I could be like towards like the least.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Let's just say like the least. Yeah. If it's based on appearance or anything like that, like maybe like here or there.
Yeah, I think this is the right position.
Okay. I think we're
Sure.
good.
We can lock this in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My experience with medication was my parents were very much against it as a child, but some things happened and we were like, okay, he kind of needs it.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Japanese household, very traditional, and so a lot of times like you would be told like, oh, if you take like these certain like herbal medications or if you drink certain teas, like it can like cure a lot of ailments. I come from like a religious background that isn't like a traditional Christian or Shintoism or Buddhism. The philosophy behind that religion is if you think something negative, it will manifest physically. And so a lot of times it came down to like blaming myself for being sick, even if it wasn't like truly my fault.
I actually survived a massacre. Yeah, well, I live in Colorado, and then there was the theater shooting there. So then I was actually a direct victim of it. I didn't really get exposed to like medication until like more recently, but it was kind of like all these underlying issues that like built up since then. You get like really numb when you're like surrounded by like people who are like always worried about you. You develop like almost like a DID or dissociative identity disorder. It's just kind of like them just throwing stuff at you and just being like, oh, maybe this will work.
Were any of you guys introduced into medication off of like physical injury or mental?
Injuries or mental issues, there's also physical like disability as well. So
Yes.
like a little bit of each.
I come from an African household, also with people in the medical field, but surprising enough, I wasn't really like introduced to it because everything was like natural remedies and just like, oh, I don't think it's that serious, so we'll stay home instead, you know?
When I was younger, like my parents like were okay with me like taking stuff for my physical needs. As I got older, they were very against medication for like mental health at first, and I think still, honestly, my parents are against medication for like mental health.
There's also physical like disability as well. So
Yes.
it's kind of like a chain reaction with some of these things. It's like one thing caused another thing, which caused injury. So that injury caused a need for medication because it caused another thing.
I only recently got my first, I guess, medication when I was 15. It was really hard for me to, I guess, accept that I needed help. I'm not someone that really likes help, but when it came to just like doing certain daily tasks that I needed to do, like I needed something to like help me, I guess, regulate that, because I was definitely going down a path that was not a good one.
I feel like you might be a little ahead.
Okay.
I really think you're like less.
You
For
think
some
I'm?
reason.
Yes.
I think
I feel like he's good.
No,
I think he's good.
I think I should move up. I really think I should.
Yeah, you
I
seem
don't-
confident
yeah,
about being
but
higher.
I don't think I'm the top. You
Okay.
know?
I'm on the top right
so. You're just being modest.
Do you think you're the most medicated?
I feel like, I don't know, I think it may be between you and me right now.
Okay, for me, I've had anxiety throughout my whole life. Elementary school, all of middle school, up until like freshman year of high school, end of it, is when I got a diagnosis of ADHD.
Based off like what you said, I would probably put you somewhere, maybe here.
Yeah.
I would probably be on this side.
Okay.
Maybe.
I actually was left undiagnosed for almost like a decade. It was like until this year, I was just like, man, I can't focus on a single thing, you know, panic attacks and all other stuff. So I actually went to the therapist under victim comp. Pretty much they diagnosed me with, you know, the holy trinity, the ADHD, depression, anxiety, and then PTSD, of course. I came from a culture where it's just like, you don't want to bother people. And that's like what my mom always would tell me, is just like, don't bother someone else, don't bother someone else. I think that's another thing that kind of empowered the sort of numbing. Everyone grieving for you, and you don't want them to. And you don't want to be in that position where like you have to tell them that it's okay, that you're like still there, and then just trying to comfort them rather than them comforting you.
I think that you should go ahead and cha-cha your way to the front.
All right, cha-cha.
I'm like, go ahead.
I had mental health problems growing up as a child. I actually had like really severe OCD, and it went undiagnosed for a really long time. I have major depressive disorder and anxiety, so I got diagnosed with that when I was around 20. But this year, I actually got diagnosed with gastroparesis, because it basically means that my stomach is either partially or fully paralyzed. Let's say, for example, like let's say your stomach is done digesting like 4 hours, let's say that, right? My stomach will take 8 hours, for example, and usually it doesn't contract, it just uses acid alone. And so sometimes, I kind of like joke about this, but like it's not super funny, but sometimes I'm like, oh, if you guys want to see a magic trick, give me like an hour and I could throw my food back up whole.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
great.
Wow.
I don't want to see a magic trick, but that's very interesting.
No, thank you for offering though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep it here. Well, I do think she's more medicated than I am. At the very
Okay,
least.
yeah, so then you can get in front of Kevin then for now.
I like how we're just putting everyone just in the middle right after we hear their story. It's just like, all right. Oh.
I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 6. I was off medication for a while because when I was 11, I was diagnosed with restrictive cardiomyopathy, which is a disorder in the heart, and a year later I got a heart transplant.
I feel like you might be higher then.
Because
I agree.
I am inclined to move up or stay up higher.
I want to.
Yeah.
I think we should hear your thing first.
So I have major depressive disorder and anxiety and PTSD, but I've also struggled with addiction, and I'll be 3 years sober on November 2nd.
Congrats.
The last thing I want to talk about is I also have a rare chronic illness. It's kind of like narcolepsy. It's called like idiopathic hypersomnia. And I basically feel like I haven't slept for 24 to 48 hours every single day. But there's only one medication that's FDA approved for it, so it's been a struggle. But I'm finally able to like hold a job, and I'm going to school also. So, yeah.
I feel like she should be in front of me, but behind her.
I feel like you should be either above me or next to me.
Yeah, the only reason why is because I feel like a lot of the stuff that you're dealing with also includes a lot of more verbal therapy.
I want to hear your story because I don't think I'm the most medicated, but I can't get to read, you know?
I think the first diagnosis I got was like anxiety, depression, but they didn't do any sort of psychiatric testing. They just kind of looked at me and they were like, man, weird. Vasovagal syncope, aerophagia. I just recently got diagnosed with autism and ADHD. That's all I'll say. And that's quite enough, I think.
Do you guys want to be medicated?
I don't want to take medicine. It's hard to keep up with, you know? It's like paying a subscription to live.
As long as they're giving me a better quality of life and better as a person and want to live, then I want to take my meds. When I first started getting sober, I was in a rehab and they prescribed me like a whole bunch of different medications, but I believe that without those medications for my addiction that I wouldn't be sober today. So it like really helped save my life.
I want having to take medications to be like the last resort, and I want to go through all the possible things that I could do before. I feel like we're all aware that the more medicine that doctors, give you, the more money they're making. So I don't know, it's like a trust issue type of thing, but also like if I really need it, like of course like for pain and whatnot. But again, let's go through all the things that I could do, and if those don't work for like helping me, all right, then give me the pills.
So obviously I don't want to be on medication because it costs money, but I'm not a big fan of medical, but I've never personally had a bad experience, but I know that that's not the case for most people.
Because, Dylan, you trust it. So
Yeah.
like you have the trust.
I
So be
trust
before
it,
me.
but maybe I don't like, certain side effects from certain things, I was unmedicated for 15 to 18 years, depending on how you look at it. I feel like I'm probably lower than you. There's a high chance.
I'm okay with this.
Yes.
Okay.
This
I'm,
structure.
I'm good.
I'm okay.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're locked in.
Yep.
In 7, Mary.
Okay.
In 6, Dylan.
Dang, guys.
5th, Kevin. 4th, Elizabeth. 3rd, Joyce. 2nd, Stephen.
Okay.
I knew it.
So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through how many medications you guys are actually taking.
Oh, perfect. Love that for me.
This would be a good reference video I could show to doctors real quick and appointments when they need to get the list. That's the most annoying part of it.
I guess down the line again?
Yeah, let's start with Mary.
Okay. Well, I take no medications. I feel like if I've went all those years being unmedicated and still fine, I'm still here living, I could do, a couple more decades. I will definitely continue to keep going down the holistic path, but it's also, I'm open to medication.
I take one medication, take Vyvanse for ADHD. It just helps me with impulse control and all that.
I'm actually on 3 medications. This is like the thing that's mainly changing is the antidepressants. Of course, Adderall for the ADHD. And when I'm too wired, they also put me on trazodone. So it's pretty much just like, here's an upper, here's a downer, and here's like something so you don't feel depressed.
I take 5. I take, this is called Zofran. I also take this one. This is called Remron. This is Ativan. I also take a scopolamine patch. And then my last one, which is my primary medication, Motilium. This one is actually not legal in the USA. It's not FDA approved. And the reason for that is because it causes a high chance of a heart attack and stroke. So I get EKGs done just to make sure that I'm still within safe levels.
Would you be able to survive without that medication?
Currently, no, because it's the only known medication to treat like my condition. Without it, there's a good chance I'll have to stay hospitalized for fluids and liquids. I could not sustain myself. I basically was diagnosed recently with gastroparesis. You can even identify it as like a really mild form of like organ failure. My stomach either is fully paralyzed or partially paralyzed. And so the way I digest, I rely on the acid in my stomach, and I can't rely on the mechanics of it.
I take 7. I don't have that many meds, guys. So I also take Zofran. I take this as needed. I also take something called armodafinil. I take clonidine at night. I also take bupropion or Wellbutrin for my depression. Something called Synthroid. And last one is just the cyclovir for a virus that I have, and I take this every single day.
So I take 8 medications. First is one of the main ones, tacrolimus, better known as Prograf. Another immunosuppressor is sirolimus. And then a lot of medications are just to quell side effects of these two. First is diltiazem. Atorvastatin, also known as Lipitor. I forgot exactly what this one does. Bayer aspirin, lisinopril. I also take Adderall. Last one, I promise. This is vitamin D3. That's everything. Yeah.
This one is Xulane patch. This is a birth control. This is the 5th birth control I've been on. This is Topamax. This is for both from chronic migraines, and also I got a higher dosage because I developed motor tics. Midodrine is the one medication I am on for fainting for my blood pressure. There we got gabapentin. I just got prescribed this one for like panic attacks and stuff, and also for chronic pain, but Juniper got prescribed the same thing. Cymbalta, this is Imitrex for emergency for really bad migraines. This is a nasal spray for allergies. This is an inhaler. And then this is Singulair. And then Aerophagia, like an acid reducer.
Wow, we could be like an ad for Big Pharma right now. I don't know, I feel like sometimes I have to like justify my problems to be like, no, it actually is something that is a problem. I had an employer when I first got diagnosed, and he was actually like really rude about it, and he told like everybody like, oh, she's probably just pregnant. People won't always like look at you and think like, you are definitely somebody who is medicated, you know?
I just wish people could see that, like, just because you can't see an illness, just because it's invisible, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to impart on someone who might be watching this?
I mean, I really just think it just speaks to like you can't tell anything about someone just by looking at them, except for the fact that everybody was like, you are the most medicated as soon as I walked in, and they were correct. So I guess for me, maybe they can, but for everybody else, you can't tell.